guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick Zimmerly, and today I've got more kind of an unboxing, if you will. It's not so much as a tutorial. This is something I've been working on and wanted to do once before I did a full tutorial on it. So super excited. This is a 40-day process that I've gone into, and this will be the end of it. So right here I've got a 40-day dry aged strip loin. So before I unwrap this, let me explain a couple of things. So this strip loin, I went down to, if you're over in San Antonio, Texas, we've got a Smoke Shack meat market next to Smoke Shack Barbecue. Both are very great, family owned. And Smoke Shack meat market, you can find different choice cuts and whatnot. And then you have, sometimes they'll feature locally sourced, never frozen cuts. So that's what this is. This is sourced out of Floresville, Texas. And this is a New York strip loin, never frozen. So I felt like that was the perfect cut for this project. So what I have it, we'll go ahead and got my trusty knife set over here. Go ahead and cut this netting off while I explain another thing. So this is wrapped in a collagen sheet. If you've watched my other videos on dry cured meats and salamis and whatnot, there's different casings, and this is similar to collagen sheets that I use. These are actually dry aged steak wraps from the sausage maker, and you can buy them online. You can also open air dry age, which if you've seen any of my other videos, I have curing chambers that I use for dry cured meats and aging cheeses. So this needs kind of more or less that setting, but different temperatures and about the same humidity, and it would need a lot more airflow. So for this project, I've used these dry aged steak wraps. And so these are the steak wraps that I've purchased from the sausage maker. I've mentioned them as well in a couple of my videos. They sell anything from sausage stuffers to salami casings and to dry aged steak wraps. This is just the alternative to open air dry aging, which when you're dry aging beef and steaks, you need a lot more. If you're open air dry aging, you need a lot more airflow and whatnot, because this is, and the temperature needs to be a lot lower than cured meats, around 37, your average for refrigerator temperatures. So this was actually dried in a fridge. Using these steak wraps, you can absolutely do that. So that these wraps allow moisture to escape but not to get in. So enough of my babbling. We'll go ahead and unwrap this. It may take a minute, so go ahead and speed up the video for that. So real quick, while I'm unwrapping this, I figured I would explain how this dry aging works. I just wanted to reiterate this has not been cured. What happens during this dry aging process is, if it's kept at the right conditions, the enzymes in the meat start to break down after a certain amount of days or weeks. And so from what I've heard, the sweet spot is between the 35 and 65 day mark. So this is at 40 days. And so, like I said, the enzymes have broken down and developed just over time. Different flavors develop, and it just transforms the meat into something completely different from just your average steak. Okay, so we've got this more or less all the way unwrapped. There's some pieces of this dry age wrap that have stuck to the meat, which it's supposed to adhere to the meat so it can dry evenly and age properly. So that's no problem, but this fat cap right here and all this is completely unwrapped, and we still have to trim the hard stuff, or what's called the pellicle or pellicle, however you want to pronounce it, off of the edges. But this fat can be trimmed off to become beef tallow, and you can render that down and cook with it. So that's awesome. It's super useful, and so it doesn't go to waste. So we're gonna go ahead and start to trim this off. My trusty knife set. Let's see. First, you know what? First, I want to slice this in half and see how beautiful it looks on the inside. So here goes nothing. It's definitely firmer because it's lost moisture. So just slowly, sure not to cut yourself. Got a little piece right there. There we go. And oh my goodness, see that? Look at that. That is a 40 day aged dry aged strip loin, and smells delicious. It's got a nutty smell, and I bet we're gonna cook it off in a little bit also in this video. So we're gonna see how that tastes. But gosh, just look at the inside of that. So like I said, this was locally sourced from Floresville, Texas, never frozen. So this is just as good as it gets, in my opinion. So what we're gonna do is begin to, let's use a different knife. Got my Wusthof right here, and cut off this section right here. And you don't want to trim too much off, but you definitely want to get this this big fat cap off, and just the sides that are harder than the rest. So I'm gonna continue to trim this. You know what? First, I'm gonna cut it into steaks, and then we will trim those individually. Right? See it? Look at that. Looks gorgeous. And like I said, it smells great. It's this oil, so it may get a little messy. You use gloves. I've got clean hands, but I would recommend some gloves. And so let's just cook one of these off right now, shall we? So like I said, this fat can become beef tallow, and you'll want to trim all that off before cooking your steak up. Alright, so we've got ourselves a piece of strip loin. I'm gonna go ahead and let's cook this off. Okay, so now before we cook this, just so we're clear, if you cook this in anything other than a cast iron skillet, we can't be friends. best part is always the taste test. So, I've cooked this rare. I like mid-rare to rare, but also I didn't use, a lot of people use garlic and thyme and all that stuff, which is really good, but I really just wanted to get the natural flavor, the flavor from the dry aged steak and not all those other added flavors. I did, however, get some kosher salt, just a little Salt Bay action. And then let's go ahead and taste this. Nice, perfect, rare, between rare and mid-rare. I almost can't describe this flavor, but let me just enjoy this for a second. So, it's got this, like I said, I almost can't describe it, but it's a nutty flavor, and it's super tender. And you can tell that it's been aged because just the depth of flavor that it has. Like I said, nice and tender. So, definitely gonna be doing this again. Probably do a full video on it. And I think next time I kinda wanna try to do a dry aged ribeye. So, if you like this, check it out. Check out the sausage maker for these dry aged steak wraps. Try it out yourself. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and thanks for watching.